Hey gaming fans, so today's another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile, and this one is for the common charity format, and it's Dice Jar. Now I've done this deck before, well a similar build to this anyways, quite a while ago. So this basically is all about getting off the effect of Dice Jar to kill your opponent. So when this guy flips, both players roll a 6-sided die once. The player with the lowest result takes damage equal to their opponent's result times 500 life points. However, if the winner's result is 6, the loser takes 6,000 points of damage. If the results are the same, both players roll again. So pretty much what you want to do is you want to get this guy face down, you want to flip him up, do as much damage as you can, hopefully 6,000, and then possibly flip him down and then do it again. Much similar to the empty jar deck that I did. This uses a lot of similar cards. But the other card that's obviously used in this one is that 6. So we're going to have to play 3 of those as well. So this deck, you're going to focus on just getting these 2 cards to your hand as fast as possible. So that 6 is a trap card, continuous trap card, that each time a player rolls a die or dice, you could choose the one die result and apply the appropriate effect based on the result. So if it's a 1, 3, or a 5, the die result is treated as 6. And if it's a 2, 4, or 6, the die result is treated as 1. So obviously this card was pretty much designed to work with Dice Jar, and you know, a few other cards out there that are die roll cards. So you can fix the results to make sure that you always win the dice roll. So those are your 6, I should say, cards that you're going to need. So the rest of the deck is dedicated to getting this stuff to your hand. So since we are going on the theme of jars, let's grab some jars. So we got Morphing Jar. This obviously will build up your hand to get to your combo pieces as fast as possible. You know, other cards that you might play in this deck might shrink your hand size. So just getting this stuff, getting these guys out. Plus there's a few cards you want to have in the graveyard as well. And Morphing Jar too, he's pretty cool. I didn't have him actually in my my last common charity build about the deck out or the empty jar or whatever, because I didn't know I had these common ones. So this is pretty much will deal with any monsters your opponent might have. It just, if you're not familiar anyways, you shuffle all monsters on the field into the deck, then each player excavates cards from the top of their deck until they excavate the same number of monsters they shuffled into their main deck. Special summon all excavated level 4 or lower monsters in face-down defense position, and then send the rest to the graveyard. So if your opponent pulls out a whole bunch of extra deck stuff, they all literally just disappear, because they don't go into your main deck, they go into your extra deck. And then even if they have just some strong monsters out, they're going to end up with just weak stuff, and then hopefully you either get your Morphing Jar or your Dice Jar to the field. Potentially you might even get 2 Dice Jars to the field, depending on how many monsters you had face down. Or on the field, I should say. And as for cards you want to ditch, especially with Morphing Jar and stuff like that, we got the AD Changers. So this is pretty much when it's in the graveyard, you could remove it from play to change the battle position of one card. So you would set your, ideally you would set your Dice Jar, and then be able to remove this card to flip him face up to get his effect off that turn. Then to help us, we have 2 Sangans. Just pretty much when he dies, you grab your Dice Jar or your Morphing Jar, depending on the situation. And I just threw in 3 of the Witch of the Black Forest. I probably would put 3 Sangan and 3 Witch as well. I just couldn't find a 3rd Sangan for some reason. And then we got 2 Pot of Dualities. I like playing at least 2. This will help thin out your deck. You could play 3, but you can't play 2 in the same turn. So you excavate top 3 cards of your deck and then add 1 of them to your hand. So that's basically, you know, looking for your key cards. Then we also have some more draw power, so Dark World Dealings. I mean, the problem with Dark World Dealings is it's a -1 in card advantage in most cases, because you're shrinking your hand, you're replacing this, and you're drawing a card, but then you're discarding a card, so you're not gaining an extra card. But like I said, with Morphing Jar and stuff like that, you could readjust your hand anyways. Also card destruction. Again, this is all about trying to get to your 2 main combo pieces, because this deck really doesn't do anything else. I mean, technically you could also deck your opponent out if you get really lucky with your morphing jars and stuff like that. So I guess that could be like a secondary win condition. 1 shallow grave, just in case you get your dice jar in the graveyard, or your morphing jar or whatever, through discarding, through whatever. You can bring 1 back, maybe get 2 dice jar on the field. And then we want cards that will obviously flip things down, so you could reset the flip effect. So we got 3 Book of Eclipse. Sure, your opponent might draw some cards out of it, but hopefully they'll be dead in time before they could use them. And then we got 3 Book of Moon, same idea. Just to flip your flip effects back face down. Or, of course, these could be used as defensive as well. So if your opponent goes to attack, maybe you're not ready, you don't have your combo set up, or you want to build up a lot of monsters on the field for your Morphing Jar number 2's effect, then you can just flip their monsters face down, as long as they're not link monsters, obviously. And then we got 3 Book of Taiyu, same idea. You can, as the AD changer, you just set a monster and then flip it face up that turn. You know, so still good. Then I needed to throw in a few traps just to help. Again, you want to set up your board. Maybe you might want to set a Sangan and, you know, set this to go an extra turn or whatever you want to do. You might even have your dice jar ready, but you don't have your trap card. So you might need to stall a few turns and just, you know, make sure they don't attack into your cards until you want them to. Anyways. I mean, sure, you could be risky if you're a gambling man. You can go risky and not have that Dat-6 out, and you might be, you know, hoping you'll get the good dice roll, I should say. You know, it happens. Sometimes you get the better dice roll and you win. Storming Mirror Force, just to deal with your opponent's monsters when you're not ready to deal with them. And 3 Reckless Greed, just for the draw power. So that's pretty much it. I mean, this deck is very, very focused on what it wants to do. It's all about Dice Jar, getting Dice Jar to pull off that 6, you know. Again, very simple deck, very easy to put together, pretty budget friendly too. I don't think there's anything expensive in this deck. You know, if you have some more, like if you have money, you could probably spend some money and get like the skill drains and hopefully be able to use skill drain. You would have to obviously flip Book Moon when you activate the jar into attack mode. Then you'd have to flip them down before skill drain would negate the effect, but that's a possibility. Other than that, yeah, it's pretty much what it does. It's all about getting off that combo. Anyways, hope you liked the deck. Throw some comments down below. Let me know if you've ever played this deck before. It's a fun one. I have a friend that likes this deck a lot, so it's really fun. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Throw some comments down below. Hope you subscribe, and talk to you later.